Welcome, everybody, to the Super Speedway Kings at Daytona International Speedway. I am Rick Susan. I'm joined here in the booth by my co-host, Jeff Needy, and we are with the IWM Broadcast Network. And we're here for another exciting night with the Speedway Kings as they take on Daytona.
Yeah, this is a great track for these guys because it's a little bit different than Talladega. Some people think super speedways are all alike, but Daytona's not. Takes a little more finesse here. Things are tighter, maybe a little bumpier, and I'm just looking forward to seeing these guys put on a good show tonight.
It should be a great night. The last time that we were here in Daytona with the Speedway Kings, it was a raucous evening.
It sure was. It got a little rough there at times. So I think it's going to be a good show tonight, judging from practice. These guys seem excited, loose, feeling good about where they're going. So let's hope it's a good show with a little bit of action, but not a wreck fest.
Well, right now we are in the middle of qualifying, and while we're doing this, let's take a quick look at just what tonight is all about. Let's bring up our race information. So we are here at Daytona. It's currently a very cool evening here at Daytona. We do have 77 laps to bring to you. They've got one qualifying lap and a couple quick repairs in their pockets and a couple green-white checkers, which we hope we don't need to wrap up the night.
Yeah, working with unlimited tires tonight. Also, weather 65 degrees. You mentioned it was cool. I think that's going to make things fast here. We hope anyway. A little bit of cloud cover, not much wind at all. So I think we've got really some pretty ideal race conditions.
Looking forward to it. So we've got a number of guys on the track. We're currently watching Sebastian Marin and his qualifying lap. We've got some good times up on the board, and as always here with these guys, the times are close. 51:35 by currently Jenkins, currently on the board right now. It's Gary Jenkins in the 90. And then right behind him, Sebastian Marin has already laid down a 51:37.
Yeah, that's some good qualifying times. It's interesting though. You looked at I'm looking back at practice times. Well, the practice times these guys are all running in packs. They're drafting, and they pick up about 5 seconds when they get in a good draft. Some of the times in the draft we're running 46, 47 seconds, and 51, 52 when they're running solo. So big speed difference.
Yeah, we'll see a lot of that tonight. These guys are known for their 2 and 3 wide racing. At Daytona here, it's a little bit different than what we've seen in the past. In the past, at Talladega, it's a much wider track. They've got plenty of capabilities to be able to spread out, but Daytona is narrower, a bit more bumpy. It should be an interesting evening.
There, Zachary Lima just jumped up to P6 with that qualifying run. Did himself pretty good there. We've got just about everybody has qualified that's going to, it looks like. Yeah, it has to be because we are now out of time.
Yep, time has expired, so we'll probably begin to see them gritting up, and we'll see them beginning to come out on the field. So while they're gridding up, let's take the folks through. Let's get that grid up and show you where your favorite driver has basically shook out. Go ahead, Jeff. Take it away.
Okay. Gary Jenkins, P1 tonight in that number 90 truck. Good run from Gary there. Looks like about a 51:35. Gabe Butler in P2 right there next door to him. Sebastian Marin, P3 in the 23 truck with alongside Kevin Fries in the 25. Jimmy Crow Jr. in P5 in that 39 truck. Jimmy Crow's the director of this league, does a great job. Actually finished P2 last week when we were running. P6, Zachary Lima. P7, Cody Niegels in the 6 truck. Steve Korosek alongside him, P8. Rick Zebrands in the 4 truck alongside Eric Laurie in the 71, 071 in 10th position.
In 11th is Seth Groover in the 02. 12th is James Mayer in the 95. In 13th, Sean Stevens in the 27. In 14th is Robert DuPont III in the 07. In 15th, J.D. Crow in the number 5. In 16th, Mike Rimkus in the 58. In 17th position, Mark Mann in the 04. And 18th, Tony Wright in the 21. In the 19th position, we have Tom Dixon in the 411. And in 20th, you've got the 82 of Matt Swope. Go ahead, Jeff. No, go right in.
21st, Luke Gray in the 29 truck, and alongside him, Joshua Gathright. Then in 23rd, Zachary Workman. Rick McKinney as the trucks roll off. Shane Posey is in 25th spot. Elliot Swope, Matt Swope's brother, is in 26th in the 021. Good to have the Swope brothers running both tonight. We've seen them individually, but we haven't seen them running together. James Mohan in the 27th spot. Robert Rock in 28th. Brian Rainville in the 60 truck alongside Richard Sanchez in the 510. In 31st, we've got Edward Fieldler alongside Todd Seibels in the 45. Randy Miner in the 101. Dean Wilkinson in the 55. And George Rincone in the 92 truck in 35th and final position.
All right, looks like the field is coming together. We've got basically just one lap here to get up to speed and get ready. The lights are off on top of the pace car, and we are about to go green.
Jimmy's giving the guys their last-minute instructions before they get to the green flag. Just trying to talk them through being cautious on that first lap. But these guys are they're pretty darn good. They don't need that encouragement, but it's always good to say it.
Here we go, green, green, green. We are underway here with the Super Speedway Kings at Daytona. The Super Speedway Kings events are brought to you by their sponsors, Over the Top Design, as well as Fort Worth Screen Printing and WOW Video Tours.
We got a really good start. Everybody's stayed nice and organized, stayed in their lane. Gary Jenkins brought us down to the green, and they are staying together pretty well. That inside lane is a little more organized than the outside lane, but we tend to see that a lot here.
So our leader right now, then battling back and forth, is that 88 of Gabe Butler. He was up on that high line, but just moved down to the low line, and you'll see that a lot tonight as these drivers are well skilled in looking to. You'll see them changing lanes and lead changes overall, but at the same time, they know how best to stall out a lane or side draft or be able to manipulate it to their advantage.
Yeah, so many people think that it's just, you sit in the truck and put your foot on the pedal and go left. But there is so much more to it. The way the air moves around these trucks, that big spoiler on the back of these will stir up that air and creates a little bit of jostling around for the people in the back. We'll see that a little bit later on tonight, I'm sure. But these guys do a really, really good job of knowing when to move and when not to move, not putting themselves in a bad situation too early in the race. And they say to finish first you have to finish. And these guys have learned that through the years and do a great job of trying to keep it clean.
Well, right now you've got the 88 battling with the 25 of Kevin Freese. That 88's got a In fact, you saw that 25. We talked about this last week. As soon as we get the leader out there, it changes. So right now, the 25 of Kevin Freese has moved down. He's in front of the 88 of Gabe Butler. Behind Gabe is the 90 of Gary Jenkins, and behind Gary was the 23 of Sebastian Marin, but Sebastian moved up that outside line. That outside line is the 22 of Zachary Lima, the 027 of Stephen Korosek, and behind him the 071 of Eric Laurie. As I mentioned, the 23 of Sebastian Marin is behind him.
Yeah, you mentioned about the way the lead changes, and it's the same way the whole way through the field. You know, that ticker that goes across the top, or this the bar on the left side of your screen showing who's in what place. Thank God that's run by a computer, and we don't have to keep track of it. But iRacing does a great job on our broadcast software with keeping up with these multiple passes that take place during the course of a race.
Well, last week we had over 46 lead changes in our 77 laps at Talladega. I'm expecting probably something similar here at Daytona, although at Talladega with 3 wide racing, we saw significantly more lead changes.
Yeah, they ran 3 wide a lot more at Talladega than they will here. You'll see it some here. They'll get brave after a while. But right now it seems to be they're content, just kind of feeling out their truck, seeing what they've got in traffic, and being able to kind of formulate a game plan. It's really interesting to me, Rick. These guys, I think all, and if not all, most of them are racing by themselves. They don't have another person as a crew chief spotter. You know, in a actual NASCAR race, you'd have 15 guys feeding information to the driver, or through the crew chief to the driver, where here these guys are doing it all on their own. They're coming up with their own strategy, their own pit strategy, fuel strategy, tire strategy, and so they've got a lot going on, not just physically in the truck, but mentally as well.
Yeah, a lot going on. There are some teams here, but there's also a number of independent drivers who are out there today, just working it and doing the best they can to get around. There is a lot of strategy here, especially when it comes to pit strategy and fuel, because the tire fall off is not like you typically would see at a 1.5-mile track or a short track. The fuel, tires is not quite the critical factor on super speedways.
Yeah, you mentioned about some of the things that they've got to do, and it's really interesting to me to see the way these guys work together as a team. Some of the things that go on behind the scenes that our viewers don't necessarily get to hear. These guys are talking on Discord. You mentioned different teams. So like on the Bootnaka team, you may have 7 or 8 drivers that are on that team. Well, they're all talking to each other on Discord in the background. You can't hear that in the broadcast. You can't hear it in iRacing. You can only hear it in that channel. So they're making strategy among themselves, plus their individual strategy. So they like we said, they've got a lot going on.
Well, we are 8 laps. This is lap number 8 of a scheduled 77. And right now you have seen what these guys do best, and that is side-by-side racing here at Daytona.
I love those in-truck shots. It gives our viewers a chance to see what's really going on. You can see how much that 25 wags around there in front of him. And there's a lot going on, like we were talking about. Not just the mental, but the physical side of it as well. You can see there's changing lanes. There's trying to get close to the guy, but not so close that you push him the wrong direction. And just a lot of mental and physical activity going on at one time.
Well, we can jump on board with Gabe Butler and see what the driver sees.
Oh, yeah, great shot. Looking at the back of that Budweiser truck, you can't even see his rear bumper. They're so close. and they're doing that at 180, 185 miles an hour. We were talking about Zachary Lima earlier when he qualified, and he's running in P1 now, doing a good job of holding off Stephen Korosek in the 027 truck.
Looks like that 071, I think, had moved up into that outside.
Yeah, that second lane, that outside lane, just not quite as organized as that inside one. And the inside one gets spread out a little bit when you get further back in the pack. If they could get that tightened up, that inside line would just take off. Had an interesting conversation with Jimmy Crow prior to the race about tires. You were talking about tires earlier, and that made me remember that conversation. At Talladega, we saw interesting tire strategy where some pit stops, there'd be guys take no tires. Some guys we saw all night long alternated left and right. So the first pit stop, they'd take rights, then the next one they'd take left, the next one right, next one left. That way it didn't take them as much time, because it takes more time than it takes to fuel a car to put 4 tires on it. So guys would save time on the pit stops. It's not that they didn't want tires necessarily, but they didn't really need them as much at Talladega as they do here. Jimmy felt like tonight that you'll see a lot more 4-tire pit stops. It's still not like you'd see on a mile and a half, like you mentioned earlier, Rick, but it's a situation where without the sharp turning and all that, these corners are wider and bigger, so they don't go through the tires. They don't scrape the rubber off the tires nearly as much as they do on a short track or a medium-sized track.
So Bradley Green on YouTube commented that apparently the 027 of Steve Korosek, the 23 of Sebastian Marin, and the 22 of Zachary Lima were former teammates.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
So right now you've got that 22 right up front. The 25 is right there, and the 027 is all right there at the front. So these guys are used to running around each other for sure.
Yeah, boy, that makes a difference, doesn't it?
It sure does. Yeah, when you're running with people you know and trust, you get a good feel for what they're going to do, how they drive, where they're going to go. Kind of similar to what you would see on every Sunday or Saturday at a NASCAR track. When you're running around somebody, you kind of know their tendencies and how they're going to react, and you are looking for that consistency, especially at 190 miles an hour. Well, here we are, lap 14 of the Super Speedway Kings event here at Daytona International Speedway. Jeff, is this race number 5 or 6?
This is race number 6. I'm looking back over all my notes, and my last page has a big 5 circled on it, so this one has to be number 6.
We've seen some great racing these past 5 races, and more again here tonight. Now we're at 14 laps. Where should we begin to look for fuel strategy here at Daytona? Where should we be looking for pit stops?
They're going to start coming probably around lap 24 or 25, somewhere right in that range, unless we get a yellow flag before that. But if we go green flag to lap 24 or 25, I think we'll start seeing pit strategy start to play out there. And when we do, these guys aren't going to just peel off one at a time. They'll come in groups. Like we talked about earlier, the draft, the need to have a car. You can go 5, sometimes 6 seconds faster when you're paired up with another truck. So these guys are not going to want to pit by themselves. They're going to want to pit in groups.
Gotcha. All right, so we are here watching. We are at lap 16 of our scheduled 77. Zachary Lima is still showing us the way in the 22. That's that Red Bull truck right there on the low line, the outside line. We've got the 027 of Steve Korosek. They're swapping that lead a little bit back and forth. But nice, clean, competitive racing going on.
It really is. I'm watching this, and it makes me think back to when COVID first hit in 2020, and NASCAR took a little break, and then they came back doing the iRacing setup, where they would go to the same tracks in iRacing that they should have been going to in real life had it not been for the COVID lockdown. And I would tell friends that they ought to watch the race on TV, and they'd watch it a little bit, and they wouldn't believe me that it was computers, that it was computer generated, people driving in a sim rig like most of us have. And it was just so funny to be able to talk to them and get, these are people that aren't super race fans, but they were looking for something different to do. They're at home so much. And the quality of this is just amazing to me. And then the way these guys drive, you think you're watching a Saturday or Sunday NASCAR event.
Well, again, you're tuning into the Super Speedway Kings. They were just a car on the wall for a second there.
Yeah.
That Valvoline truck. Nope, it's in the wall again. I'm not sure quite who that is. Try to scroll back a bit.
Saw the sparks fly when that truck hit the wall. Looked like he was trying to start a little campfire there for himself, get warmed up. It's a cool evening in Daytona, Florida. What we think we said about 65 degrees. Boy, that was a tight. Guy dropped down into that inside lane and didn't have a whole lot of room left. But that's the way these guys operate. They know how much space they have. They've got good situational awareness and are able to do moves like that some of us would be afraid to try.
All right, that's lap 19 of 77. We are working our way down to our first pit stop.
Yeah, we're getting pretty close. We're within 5 laps now, I would think, of green flag pit stops. These guys on the team channel are probably talking to each other. What lap do you want to go on? That sort of thing. And then you got to think about it. The guys in the outside lane up in that upper area of the track, they can't pit from there. And that's why you see that lane starting to break apart. There's very few trucks in that outside lane right now, primarily because they can't pit from there because they've got somebody inside them. So the guys in the inside lane will start pitting shortly, and the guys in the outside lane are just going to try to get as good a track position as they can muster.
Well, and you're right that we're now at lap 20. We'll begin to see some green flag pit stops pretty soon, and then it's going to get a little bit crazy as these guys. Here we go.
First group headed to the pits, and boy, they're trying to get it woed down before they get to that cone.
3 wide down pit road.
Speed limit in the pits is 60 miles an hour. So trying to get from 185 down to 60 is that's quite the chore. Yeah, you see these guys doing.
We saw some tires going on for sure.
Yep. Saw left sides. I didn't see right sides in that group, which was kind of surprising.
Well, I think that that super speedway mentality is that they'll do left side this and then right side.
Yeah.
So more guys are in. This is James Mayer, Rick Seabrans, Seth Groover, Sean Stevens, Mark Mann, Tony Wright, Luke Gray, Zachary Workman, Shane Posey, and Elliott Swope is also in this group.
Gives Gabe Butler a chance to be up front again. Got Gabe, followed by Gary Jenkins, J.D. Crow, and Jimmy Crow, both up in that top 5. No relation, by the way. I thought they were, but they're not. And then Richard Sanchez topping out the top 5.
Speaking of Gabe Butler and J.D. Crow and Gary Jenkins, they are now on pit road.
So this is this the last group, I would think?
It is.
Would everybody have pitted now? Okay.
Yep, everybody has pitted.
Be interesting to see how quickly they get that pack tightened back up again. Yeah, these guys are making fast stops. Some of these didn't even take tires. Try to pick up a couple positions by not taking tires and see if they can get good track position that way. Well, there's Gabe Butler back out first out of the pits. Trying to hold on to P1. We'll see what happens when the pack catches them, which ought to happen.
Right now?
Here they come. That's right. Yeah, they'll just blow by them there. These guys will have to come out in the middle. There you can see Gabe went up into that inside lane now.
Well, that's what we saw last time. That as that first round of pit stops comes through, we begin to see that pack beginning to break apart a little bit. It's not just 35 cars, nose to tail, running around. We begin to see some bit of stretch as the field begins to spread out. Now you've got 2 and 3 car packs running back here. Up at the front, you've got the main pack of Steve Korosek, Sebastian Murren, Kevin Fries, Zachary Lima, Cody Nagels, Robert DuPont III, Rick Seabrans, James Meir, Seth Groover, and Mark Mann as your top 10.
It looks to me from that last set of green flag stops that might want to consider pitting early. That it seems like the guys that pitted in that first group are back out front again. And guys like Gabe Butler, who we saw pit with that last group, he led that last group in and led them back out again. They're pretty well back in the field now because of when they stopped. Oop, caution is out.
Caution is
Lap
out.
25.
It's like Jimmy Crow Jr. may have gone off the track. Let's try to run that back and see if we see that. Oh, there we go. Let's back that up a bit.
021?
071, it looks like.
071.
Yep, number of guys involved. Let's try to get a far back shot from the 82 of Matt Swope. Let's try to get a far chase shot here. Let's see how this progresses here.
Yeah, that's Eric Laurie in that 071 from Florida.
Looks like we're pretty good there. Still side-by-side racing. Jimmy Crow's on the outside. You've got the 45 behind Jimmy. Matt Swope on that low line.
That's what happened. That one guy, the green truck there, went down below the double yellow, which allowed that, what is that, Sohoy truck to get just up to his bumper. And then when he tried to come back up above the double yellow, somebody was already there. Rowdy, that's what the truck is, Rowdy.
Yeah, looks like
39 Matt, up on 2 wheels. Oh, that took out Matt Swope too.
Looks like that's Joshua Gaithright in the 89 Rowdy truck. But all right, so as you will see, good bit of guys who took the opportunity here to get on pit road. Looks like a number of guys got fuel.
Yeah, Yeah, this is where the strategy really starts coming into play now. Who comes in, tops off their fuel, and who doesn't? Who stays out to try to pick up some spots, get a little better track position. Some guys will come in, just top off, take a few seconds to fill up on fuel and get back out there again. Then you have the guys that were involved in that incident having to make decisions on, do I go back out and run, or do I use a quick repair? I've only got 2, so I've got to be careful on when I use them to make sure I use them properly.
So Sebastian Marin is probably going to come out and show us the way around. I think pretty much everybody, Jeff, based on what I'm seeing here, Luke Gray may not have come in, but besides Luke, everybody else came in.
Boy, that's that'll move us to probably lap 44, 45, somewhere in that range, for the next green flag pit stop, should we stay green the whole time.
Now, as we've seen before, a number of guys have gone back in, and my guess is that they're only going back in just to top off that little half gallon of fuel that they could possibly add to their tanks. Well, here we go. Rick McKinney's actually getting right side tires. Elliott Swope just pulled in behind him. Elliott
just took fuel.
Took fuel. That's the 60 of Brian Rainville. He's coming down to his spot. We'll see what Brian does, or we'll try. Just fuel as well. Yep. So pretty much, with the exception of Luke Gray, he is our outlier. Everybody else has come in on either lap 25 or 26 to top off their fuel, get another set of Goodyear tires on one side, and they're back out on track.
Listening to Jimmy Crow on the radio there a little bit, I love the fact that he runs such a solid show here. When there's a incident on the track, he tries to figure out, okay, what happened there, and what do we do, guys, to correct that so that doesn't happen again. We want to keep this clean. We want everybody to race hard, but we want to keep this clean and put on a good show for our fans.
Here we go, about to go back to green flag racing.
Good clean restart. That 23 truck, Sebastian Marin out in front. Sebastian's 4th in the standings right now. He's about to get past, though. Look at that outside line, get a run.
Yeah, that's the 22 of Zachary Lima giving a huge push to the 027 of Steve Korosek. Got the 6 behind Zachary Lima. That's Cody Nagels. We saw Cody last week at Talladega do exceptionally well.
Yeah, he had a good run last week. There goes. This is something I noticed last time at Daytona, is in the corners that inside line gets the run. See how they're picking up there and passing? And then when you get to the straightaway, the outside line seems to have a bit of an advantage if they're all grouped together like they are right now. And here goes that outside line on that straightaway, just taking off. And then when they get to the turn, they'll stall out a little bit.
Well, I think that's part of a little bit of physics there too. That obviously that low line is the shortest way around the track, so there's a lot of good speed that they'll keep there on that tighter turn. But on that outside, you got to go a little bit farther around, and at this speed, that fraction of a time translates directly into distance on the track, and that's where you begin to see that nose to tail, that outside line begin to fade back a little bit and then push ahead.
Exactly right. You see it in qualifying as well. They say the fastest way around this truck is to keep, or around this track, is to keep your truck right down there on that double yellow line. Take that shortest distance around. On a smaller track, that tighter radius of the turn you'll get more drag because of that, because of your turning your front wheel so much. Here, it's just you don't lose that much speed going through the corners, so that short way around can have a big impact.
All right, we are at lap 31 of 77 with the Super Speedway Kings at Daytona here. The Super Speedway Kings is a super speedway league. They run Talladega and Daytona. They run on every Tuesday night. And you'll see that they're sponsored by Fort Worth Screen Printing, Wow Video Tours, and Over the Top Designs. We'd like you to, if you can, reach out to those sponsors if you have a need. They're helping to keep these leagues going. And if you got something that you want to have done by those sponsors, reach out and take advantage of those sponsors and say, hey, you saw their logo on a broadcast.
That's right. They're the guys that make this possible. You and I wouldn't have a job broadcasting these races if we didn't have sponsors that were helping us out, getting the word out about their businesses, but really, in most cases, doing it because they love racing. They love iRacing. They love racing in general, and it's good to have them participate. These guys are lined up again, head to toe, nose to tail, both lanes going strong, just kind of shuttling back and forth on the turns and the straightaways. I love that low angle shot. Look at that speed.
Well, it looks like that green Toyota on the outside there. That's Shane Posey. He had definitely a pretty good run going, and instead of letting that run just kind of suck up to the car in front of him and backing out of it, he just kept going with it and drifted out to the outside. I don't think he was trying to start a third lane, but he didn't want to give up that momentum that he had.
Yeah, that momentum's a great talking point too, because if you lift, you lift just for a split second, it can take you multiple seconds to get that momentum back again. So you do not want to lift unless you absolutely have to. That was a good move on his part to keep that speed up, keep his RPMs up, and that just pulling out will slow him down a little bit to keep him from hitting that guy in front of him. But then he can duck right back down without losing that much momentum.
So lap 34 of 77. Just some fabulous side-by-side super speedway racing here at Daytona by the Super Speedway Kings. And if you're connecting to us, the IWM Broadcast Network, on one of our social media sites, whether that happens to be Facebook or YouTube or Twitch, like and follow along. We'll keep you up to date on every Tuesday night here with the Super Speedway Kings. And again, on Wednesday night, we broadcast the Tech for Troops Cup Series, where we have the Cup Series cars at all of your favorite tracks across the United States, and some great racing there as well as some fabulous drivers.
On lap 35, so we're approaching that halfway mark, and we're probably about 10 or 12 laps away from another round of green flag pit stops, should we stay green that long, which I hope we do. It's been a good show so far, watching these guys duke it out on this high banks of Daytona here, and just doing a really, really good job of running clean, running tight, running hard. This is as good as racing as you will see on the iRacing platform. These guys know what they're doing and do such a great job putting on a good show for us. And I think they're having a little bit of fun sitting in that seat all at the same time.
I think they are too. That's a heck of a place to be. We're at nearly the halfway point here. And as you can see, we are side by side. There's no clear advantage. These guys are battling out. They all know they've got to get to lap 77. So they're trying to be conservative but smart in how they move forward. We do see a taker. I think that is Seth Groover in the 02 that's kind of moved out to that third lane there, and he's up above the 95. That 95 is James Mayer. And, oh, he's back down. So we're back to 2 wide. Oh, definitely some change. That's the 90 that we just saw. That 90 is Gary Jenkins. Gary just dropped down from that high line to the low line there. So we're beginning to see the guys begin to try to figure out where they want to run, who they can run with, and definitely seeing some guys that want to get out to the front. They're trying to explore that third line.
Yep, there it comes. Seth Groover's tucked in behind. I can't tell what number truck that is, but got 2 takers out there on that outside line, just trying to see if they can make something happen. There comes somebody else sliding up with them.
That's the 95 of James Mayer that's taking on the outside. You've also got Shane Posey in the 83 now on the outside, and now that Shane's got the
Tony Wright up there.
Yep.
He was. Now, by the time I started to say it, he moved back down.
Yep. So the 83 is still up there high with the 90 of James Mayer, 95 of James Mayer. They're trying to get a little bit of help behind.
That third line is so tough to drive because you have nowhere to go. You've got a line of trucks on your inside most of the time, and then you've got that very unforgiving wall just a foot or so off the right side of your truck. So you've got to be so tuned in, so focused when you're running that outside line there.
Well, they really had hoped. You got the 45 of Todd Siebels that is on that outside line, but he hasn't quite caught up to the tail of the 95. He's just running out there now. He's got a little bit of that draft. He's kind of sniffing at it, but he hasn't quite caught it yet.
Yep, if he can side draft off of some of those guys on his inside, and I don't know if that'll help him pick up.
Whoa!
There he goes. Whoa! Big wreck. Yeah, 45 Todd Seibel's got a little twisted there, and
like Matt Swope may have caught some damage there. The 7 has gotten involved. Elliott Swope has got involved. Gary Jenkins has got involved. So, yeah, a lot of action here. We are under caution for our second time of the night. We can go back to what we saw. Let's pause that. We know what happened here. We saw the 45 try to go a little bit behind the 45. We'll stay behind Gary Jenkins here in the 90. So we see that the 45, let's jump up to the 7. All right,
yeah.
so that may be what we refer to, and you'll hear it often, a net code, and that is a mathematical calculation that iRacing makes that says something bad is going to happen, and it kind of anticipates that wreck happening. So it's not actual contact, but it's perceived contact. And so now you see that 45 come down.
Why?
It's pretty incredible. Definitely, you see that. You see the 82 of Matt Swope.
Swope got caught up in that one. And there's Elliott Swope right behind him, and he gets rear-ended.
Yep.
When stuff like that happens, those trucks are slowing down so fast that the guys that are right behind them, they've got to either take evasive action, get hard on the brakes, and sometimes you do both of those and still can't get stopped in time.
So a lot of drama here as we go back to live action here. A number of guys are in. Pretty much our leaders are now coming down onto pit road. That's the 23 of Sebastian Marin. You've got the 25 of Kevin Freeze, Steve Korosek, Zachary Lima. Pretty much everybody is now making their way onto pit lane.
Just heard Matt Swope say that he blew up, so he's got to try to get back to the pits either via a tow or coast, and definitely have to use a quick repair on that one.
Yeah, which may be his second quick repair. He only got 2, and he was involved in that earlier incident, so we'll have to play that by ear. So.
I think it's smart. Some people say, well, that's not realistic, but I think it's smart to give these drivers a couple of the quick repairs. Things happen like that one we saw right there, caused by netcode. It wasn't anybody's fault. It was just one of those things where the computer decided, and then you have a lot of wrecked trucks. A lot of guys that if they didn't have a quick repair, they'd be out of the race through no fault of anybody. So I think giving them a couple of those quick repairs is good for the field, it's good for the drivers, it's good for the spectators. It's just a win-win situation.
All right, we are at lap 42 with just 36 laps to go already here at Daytona with the Super Speedway Kings.
Looks like is that the 027 of Korosek, Stephen Korosek's up there and bringing us, following the pace car, I should say.
Steve is currently being shown in on the scoring pylon as being currently.
That's weird.
Well, that's just that's a scoring issue. He is currently leading the group down, so that will correct itself as they go around. But yeah, he is our control truck. That's the 027 of Steve Korosek. You've got the 83 on the outside of Shane Posey. Cody Niegels is behind Mr. Korosek in the 6. Luke Gray on the outside in the 29. Behind the 6 is Rick Seabrans in the 4. And on the outside, Sebastian Mayer in the 25 of Kevin Fries is on the low side, and James Mayer in the 95 is on the outside. Zachary Lima is there in 9th in the 22, and on the outside in 10th is Gabe Butler in the 88.
Yeah. The lap down trucks have all pitted and have made their way back out onto the track, and we should be getting ready to go green here shortly, I would think.
Yep, the lights are off on top of the pace car. We will be back to green flag racing momentarily. That's only our second caution of the evening. We run 43 laps here at Daytona with the Super Speedway Kings. Am I surprised? No. These guys do a heck of a job, and their racing is unmatched here in iRacing.
I totally agree with you on that one. It's always exciting to get to broadcast these races and watch these guys in action.
All right, green flag, green flag. We are back to green flag racing here at Daytona. They take the green flag with 34 laps to go.
Now this is going to be interesting fuel strategy because with that pit stop, that should get them to lap 65, 66, 67. But we've got to get to 77. So everybody's going to be about 10 laps short right now. So there's going to have to be at least one more pit stop. If we stay green, which this is Daytona, I'm not guessing we're going to stay green till the end. So I think we'll get that pit stop they need.
Well, it's if all things being equal, you're right. With this kind of speed, with the margin of error being as skinny as it is, you know, if there's an incident anytime inside past lap 57, you're going to see everybody back on pit road to top off fuel and make it that 20 laps to the finish. Now, you've got to put enough fuel in the truck in case we do wind up with the green-white checker.
That's right, and that really enters into that strategy portion of what you're going to do on fuel, because you've got to you really should do enough for 2 green-white checkers. So just making sure that you've got those extra few gallons in there to be able to do that. And then figuring out, that's the key thing, and this is where I have trouble in super speedway racing, to be honest. I have difficulties trying to stay focused in the truck and do those mental calculations for fuel strategy. Where am I on tires compared to somebody else I'm running against? Things like that. So it's it's tough, and I admire these guys for how they're all able to do it and do it well.
But what we do know is that we're on lap 46 of 77, coming up to just about 30 laps to go. They can run 20 to 25, well, probably about 20 to 22 laps on a full tank of fuel. So we've seen them come in and top off. These guys are pretty big strategists as when they need to come in. So we should start seeing them come in right around what we just talked, sometime around past lap 57. Now, that does play into the gambler aspect of this. So you can, if you just go by pure math says that you can come in anytime after, say, lap 57 and top off your fuel tank, maybe lap 60. You still would have fuel in your tank, but if you fill up the tank at that point, you'll have enough to finish the race. Now, there are those that will gamble and say, well, others going to stay out because they figure eventually a caution will happen, and hopefully it occurs before I officially need fuel.
Get your crystal balls out, folks. It's time to start looking into the future. What do you think's going to happen? And that's one of the things that makes these guys so good, is being able to do that and drive 185 miles an hour 6 inches away from another truck, all at the same time.
So right now we are focused on Steve Korsak and Shane Posey, who continue to show us the way. Steve Korsak has got that low line. Shane Posey is driving that high line. It's so hard to pass here. You can try to poke your nose out, but to be able to get past somebody else, you need help. There's no way you can do this alone, and if you're trying to make that third lane work, you've got to need a lot of help, and you need help with some driver that knows how to run that line. There's no forgiveness with that safer barrier on that outside. You see the 0-2 right now. That 0-2 is Groover. Seth Groover, who is just currently trying to run that outside line. He got a little bit of help from the 19 of Zachary Workman, who moved up, but unfortunately the 0-2 is nearly trapped on the outside. He does have the 0-21 of Elliott Swope in front of him. If he chooses to try to move down, we'll try to keep an eye on what Mr. Groover does. Now he's got a little bit of help again. The 19 of Zachary Workman has run back out to maybe see if he can give him a little bit of a push.
Yeah, in order to make a pass here, there's got to be an opening for you to move into. So your options are limited. You've either got to take your chances out in that third lane, or you've got to wait until there's a gap in the lane beside you, and if you think that lane is going to move, then you jump into that gap. But otherwise, you're kind of stuck where you are, just waiting for that opportunity. And then when that opportunity occurs, you've got to be able to jump on it quickly, because that hole's going to close up real fast.
So we saw Seth Groover try. He was out there. Didn't get a whole lot of help.
Butler. Yeah, Gabe Butler's out there now in front of Seth Groover, trying to make that outside line work.
They're looking for some help.
We're down to 25, 26 laps to go. We got to start making something happen. Now they got
that's Luke. Yeah, that's Luke Gray in the 29 that has moved out a little bit farther, trying to get that outside line to work. Gabe's in front. That's the 60 behind him. That's Brian Rainville trying to get in that lane. I think Elliott Swope is thinking, am I going to go up? I'm like, am I going to hang back? I'm thinking he's just trying to figure out.
Yep. He was trying to decide which lane to get into. Now he looks like he's going to stay in the center for now, but try to keep his options open. He keeps looking up there.
That lane is holding together. You just got those two cars on the outside, the 29 and the 88, trying to make something happen. There's not a lot of room for error up there. You've got basically the wall and the cars in the middle. Now, those cars in the middle, there's a lot of dancing going back and forth because the aerodynamics in that middle line here at Daytona is tough. There's a lot of side-to-side movement. You're seeing it on the screen as these cars begin to slip and slide together. Now you've got three on that outside. That's the 0-2 of Seth Groover. He's been trying to get some help up there all night. He now has some dancing partners, and he is moving up.
Yep, 25 laps to go. It's time to put up or shut up, and these guys are starting to figure out who they can run with, who their friends are, and where their teammates are at, and then make something happen. The other thing I was thinking about, Rick, this is going to put a little bit of a shake-up in the points tonight if we finish anywhere close to where we are right now. I think the only top 5 driver in the championship run that's up front right now is Sebastian Marin, and he's like in 10th position. But none of our top 5, other than Sebastian, are running up front a lot tonight. You know, I'm sure some of them have been up there in and out as, you know, pit changes and things like that. But this is going to be interesting. And Sebastian he's in 4th spot. He's about 18 points out of the lead. But he's run one race less than everyone else that's in the top 10.
Yeah, right now he is currently showing in 9th, and we'll take you through that top 10 right now. You've got the 027 of Korosek. You got the 83 of Posey. They're swapping leads back and forth. Man, I could have sworn we were almost 4 wide there for a moment. You've got the 6 of Nagels, Gray, Mayer, Butler, Sebring, Sanchez, Groover, and Marin, all there in your top 10. There is a lot of action on the track as these guys begin to move around and figure out how they're going to get. Because don't forget, with 23 laps to go, these guys still need to pit one more time.
Yeah, as you were trying to read off those 10 names pretty quickly, we had about 10 position changes all while that was going on. So they're moving around so fast. It's hard to, you can't give a consistent report on who's running where. You just got to keep your eye on that tower on the left-hand side of the screen there, and you can see those names just moving around and moving as trucks change positions.
A little bit of side. Yeah, saw some minor contact, I thought, with the 95. That's James Mayer.
Now that outside lane's leading. They got that 29 truck of Gray out in the front, and they're starting to get organized enough out there. They've only got 3 trucks running, but they loot so much in the corners, but boy, they can pick it up on the straightaways.
There we go. There we go.
Snobs. They're just inside the pit window now with 22 laps to go, and a lot of guys peeled off on this one.
So this is pretty much your leaders. So you've got Sebastian Marin, Steve Korosek, Kevin Freese, Cody Nagel, Zach Lima, Jimmy Crow Jr., Rick Sebring, Sean Stevens, Robert DuPont, Mark Mann, Dean Wilkinson, all in.
I didn't see anybody take tires either.
Nope, it's all fuel.
Yep, just get enough fuel to get me to the end. That's all I want, crew chief. So these guys have made their decisions, and now we're going to see if those were good decisions. It's going to be an interesting 21 laps to the checkers.
Well, there's a good opportunity as these guys begin to come off pit road and now working their way back up onto the racing service. We do have another group of drivers in. That's James Mayer, Seth Groover, Mike Rimkus, Tony Wright, Tom Dixon, Shane Posey, Richard Sanchez, all these guys in. Fuel only just topping off.
And those guys that pitted on that first go around with 22 to go, they all came in together and they all went out together. So they've got their lane formed up. Their pack is ready to run, and they're doing their best to catch everybody else and get back up to the front. It goes back to what we talked about earlier. Pitting early seems to have an advantage. We'll see if that advantage plays out on this attempt.
So this lap we saw Randy Miner and Rick McKinney. They're both on pit road. You do have a number of drivers who still have not come in, and they're kind of trapped. So they're up on that high line. Gabe Butler, Brian Rainville, Eric Laurie, J.D. Crow, Elliott Swope, Gary Jenkins, Matt Swope, Luke Gray, and Robert Rock all came in last on lap 41.
Yeah, they do not have enough. They're going to end up being about 10 laps short. So they're going to play the long fuel strategy and just run as far as they can and hope for a yellow.
Yeah, I think the challenge for those guys was that now they're right there. They were able to get down. That was critical for those guys. They're definitely going to come in this next lane, this next time by. My guess is that they were just stuck there. There was no way for them to get down to the low line, which would allow them to jump down onto pit road.
It's good to see the Swope brothers back out there again. They were both involved in that last mix-up and got taken out. No fault of their own, but they both had a quick repair left and were able to use it and get back out there, stay on the lead lap, and be up there in position. Second and third as they come off into the pits.
So they're coming in together. That's Elliott Swope and Matt Swope together. That leaves Brian Rainville all out there on his own. Brian came in on lap 41. I think he is the only driver who has not come in yet.
And if he comes in and pits by himself, then he's going to be in a whale of hurt because he's not going to have a drafting partner when he gets back out there unless he gets extremely lucky.
So Elliott's hoping a slightly longer pit stop. I'm not sure just what happened with that, but whether he did tires, I did not see that. We're probably seeing Matt Swope come around. He's trying to stay ahead of that pack that's about to try and run him down.
At least he'll have a drafting partner if he can get out there, and I think he'll be able to keep up with these guys. You see him merge into traffic there. He'll be able to tag onto the end of that, hopefully, and be able to at least have some dance partners.
So Brian Rainville is our gambling man. He is last pitted on lap 41. We've got 16 laps to go, which means we are now at lap 61.
That sounds right.
He should be. Yeah. I'm concerned that Mr. Rainville is going to run out of fuel.
Yeah, he's getting down. He's probably only got 5, maybe 6 laps left. So he's got a decision to make here soon. But for now, he can get a lot of TV coverage running up front.
That he can.
Make his sponsors happy.
Oh, caution. Caution's out.
Oh, that is going to help Brian Rainville more than anybody.
Anybody want to go to Vegas with Brian Rainville?
I'd have him go buy me a lottery ticket right now if I bought lottery tickets. That's that man.
It looks like Dean Wilkinson and Tony Wright were involved. Let's try to see they can back that up here.
Oh yeah, those two trucks. Looks like he tried to come down left for some reason, come down to that inside lane. There was no opening there.
See if we can get a better shot of that.
For those of you at home, Rick is trying to talk, punch a lot of buttons, move cameras, and roll tape back all at the same time. He's doing a
Oh,
really good job.
we've got a truck full of people that are able to take care of this for us. So it looks like the incident wasn't with Dean Wilkinson. He may have just been a victim of circumstance. There was definitely something that was in front of him. I'm trying to get a better feel for just who that is. See if that was Tony Wright. I'm not sure. Let's play this up a little bit, see what we see here.
Yeah, he just comes down like he's trying to get down to that low line.
Is it him coming down? He's on the inside. You've got the
Oh,
101.
sorry.
That's
Yeah, it's the
Randy
101
Minor.
coming
Yep.
down.
Randy Minor on the outside there. May just not have seen him. He kind of.
You know what? And what truck is? I can't see that number on the truck that's backwards right now. He came up a little bit just as that 101 was moving down.
Yeah, he sure did. So that was the 21, I think. That's Dean Wilkinson.
Okay.
We'll just back that up real quick just to double check. Definitely contact there. I think that was Tony Wright. Tony Wright is in the 21 truck, not to be confused with the 021 truck.
Yep, that 101 looked like he started down, and as he's coming down, that inside line truck just went up just a little bit, but it was enough that they made contact and took each other out. Fortunately, not a lot of trucks involved in that one. Usually this late in the race, everybody's getting bunched up, and one wreck can take out a lot of trucks.
So Brian Rainville stayed. He went in. He pitted on lap 64 and came out. I think he's out in the 12th position now because nobody else had to come in. Well, unless you've had damage. But for the most part, those top 10, those guys are able to stay out. They don't need fuel. They don't need tires. They're just doing their thing. Well, this is our third caution of the evening here at Daytona with the Super Speedway Kings. Relatively minor, very few cautions tonight. I'm not going to say those wrecks were minor. They were pretty spectacular. But we've got 12 laps to go. By the time we cross the start-finish, we'll have 11 laps to go.
We have not seen the big one yet. We've had some skirmishes out on track, but nothing that's really taken out a big chunk of the field. And 12 laps to go. I would vote that we don't have a big one, but I have a feeling some folks watching today would like to see that, but they just don't want to see their driver in it.
Well, again, the lights are off on top of the pace car. We've got the field forming back up. You've got some guys you'll notice that are kind of running on that flat apron there below the double yellow. They're doing that to try and minimize their fuel. They're definitely trying to take advantage of that level ground and get that pickup flush in that tank. And they're hoping they're not going to need to worry about fuel with 12 laps to go.
We got some stragglers in the back trying to get caught up. We had, 35 trucks, I think I saw? 35 trucks in tonight's field.
We still have 26 still on the lead lap.
Wow.
All right.
That is amazing.
Pace car is off the track, entering the Geico restart zone, and we are back to green flag racing.
Oh, 23 got a nice jump there.
Yeah, that is Sebastian Marin, who was able to get a good jump. He also has jumped up there with the 22. That happens to be the Zachary Lima. And you've got the 027, that's Steve Korosek, in command of that low line. And right away, we're seeing Seth Groover try to make that outside lane, that third lane, work.
He likes that third lane, doesn't he?
He does.
He's been out there quite a bit here at the towards the end part of this race. Good
Absolutely.
for him.
He's got Shane Posey on the behind him trying to help out, and looks like we've got some guys behind that are, do I jump up there? And maybe not.
Yeah, they all got back down in that center lane now. So guys staying put. Nobody venturing out too far with 10 laps to go, but it's going to wind down here. Probably with about 5 to go, it's going to get real interesting up front. I know that 23 truck of Sebastian Marin would love to get another win. He's got 2 wins so far this season. I think he's the only two-time winner, and like we mentioned before, he's one race shy of everyone else. So able to have a good points run tonight is gonna do him well for sure. Whether he wins or not, a good points race is gonna move him up.
Oh, wreck.
Ooh, there we go.
Caution has not come out. They're off the racing surface. Oh, he came back up. We stayed green.
Man, did he? Great evasive move by that truck in the back there that had to get out of his way in a hurry.
That was
glad to see it stayed green though.
Yeah, that was the 89 of Joshua Gaithred again, and a little bit of a skirmish there. And of course, now we're seeing that third line. That's the 95 forming back up. That's the, I think that's the 95 out there right now. It is the 95, the 5, the 29, and the 88, trying to form up that outside line. That's James Mayer.
Oh, somebody down below the double yellow there. That's not gonna. They didn't try to advance their position, so no harm, no foul.
We are 3 wide.
3 wide, yeah, and 3 solid. You get that outside line, just all of a sudden, it was like a tornado. It just formed up really quickly.
Well, with 7 laps to go, they are 6 laps to go. We are now 3 wide here at Daytona, though. A little bit of contact with the wall there. That was the 95 or the 5.
Seth, I thought it was Seth Groover that did that. Maybe not.
Now these guys are about to run up on a lap traffic.
Yeah. Good driving. Got down to the inside there. Got down close to the apron or on the apron, and going into a corner like this, he's got to really slow down because that's flat down there. So very sportsmanlike of him to get out of the way. Let the pack come through and then get back up and try to get going again.
That's the 45 of Todd Siebels that was able to get out of the way of this massive pack that's working their way. 6 laps to go here at Daytona with the Super Speedway Kings. Oh, definitely someone dropped down to the apron. This is tight battles back and forth. Let's jump in with, let's see if we can find somebody. Oh, Zachary Lima, let's focus on him and get in. Let's do the driver cam and ride along with, that's Zachary Lima. He's got 3 wide.
Shot. He's in that center lane, and look how tight that is. And these trucks are moving around. You can see his hands moving on the wheel. Just some incredible driving from these guys, because you know the air off of those trucks is blowing him around a lot.
3 wide here at Daytona. This is super technical to be able to hold these lines, especially in that middle groove.
You see his hands. He's not making big changes, even in the corners. It's everything's slight. You got to be so precise with your movements, your hand movements, your pedal movements, things like that. Boy, we're coming down 5 laps to go. Steven Korosek and Sebastian Marin. Now they're joined on the outside there by that 5'10" of Richard Sanchez.
And I just thought I saw that car blink a second ago.
Yeah, he did. I saw that too. Richard Sanchez is a player too, because he's running 6th in the season standings at this point. So if he can get that third line to stay organized and push him, then he's got a shot at this.
So just as Jeff said, we're coming down to the wire here. We've got 4 laps to complete, about to be 3 laps. We are 3 wide here at Daytona. Oh, a little bit of movement.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there we go. Richard Sanchez moved down to that inside, or to the center lane. And I think he's going to have a much better chance there, but that moves Sebastian Marin back to a spot. Oh, they're going to trade. He'll take that outside lane, try to get back up, get a push here, get out in front of him, and watch him move back down to that second lane if he can clear the 5'10" of Richard Sanchez.
You're seeing all kinds of movement.
Ooh, wow.
That was the 82 of Matt Swope, who caught a little bit. Wrecking.
Sanchez is in that one. The 027 of Korosek is in it.
Big wreck.
Man.
That 5'10" did a few barrel rolls down the front stretch. He was not alone. There is lots of damage, lots of drivers involved. Tom Dixon, Sean Stevens, Zachary Workman, Kevin Fries, Matt Swope was involved. Steve Korosek was involved.
Boy, that one just all of a sudden, that much movement, 3 wide, that's going to happen. Oh, there you cut just right after it happened there. It looks like the 5'10" tries to go up.
Let's try to get a little bit of a shot from the from our drone behind the 82 of Swope. Yeah, a little bit too far back. Let's kind of move up to the 95 of James Mayer. See what we see.
This ought to be. Yeah. The snap-on truck comes up on him.
I think that was Korosek. So he looked like he could try to slow, I'm guessing, to maybe slow down that lane.
Yep, that lane had a good run on him, and it was a good move, just about a second too late. You see him right there try to go up.
Unfortunately, that was the name of that. Let's go back to this shot here, and we're going to let this run at full speed.
Well, and we officially have the big one, I think. You got trucks upside down, trucks backwards, going every which way.
Well, I know Matt Swope got a quick repair already from his previous incident he was in. Not sure he's got anything in his pocket to pull out at this point, but we do have a number of guys now on pit road.
There comes the 5'10" back out again. Looks like he must have had a quick repair, because that truck looks real nice all of a sudden.
So now, with that being our 4th caution, and more importantly, with just 3 laps to go, that kind of moves us into overtime, and we will need to utilize what we affectionately call a green-white checker. If you're not familiar, that basically means that as the field crosses the start-finish line, the flagman will wave the green flag. They'll go around, hopefully incident-free. The next time by, the white flag will come out, and that will be our final lap. The key is that there's no incident after that green flag falls. All right, as you can well imagine, our lineup has changed. We'll take you through our top 10 in just a moment. What we currently see is the 22 of Zachary Lima. He will be our control car and will manage this next restart. Sebastian Marin is behind him. You've got Rick Seabrans, Cody Nagels, James Mayer, Elliott Swope in 6th, Brian Rainville in 7th, Robert Rock in 8th, Seth Groover, and currently Matt Swope is showing in 10th. I'm not quite sure just if Matt can get around. I'm not sure the damage or the...
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much speed that truck has when they take the green. This is going to have an impact on the points here too, because you got Sebastian Marin still in the front. He, fortunately for him, avoided that last little indiscretion on the track and still running second. He's in our top 5 on our championship points, our year-to-date standing. So if this finishes like it is right now, he'll have a very good points day, and the guys around him in the points, you got Zachary Workman in P1, Gabe Butler's in 2, Dean Wilkinson's in 3rd, and J.D. Crow in 5th. Those are the top 5 in the season standings to date, and I don't see any of those guys close. None of those guys in the top 10 other than Sebastian Marin.
So what a difference a few laps make. We were just talking briefly about the fact that we didn't see any driver in that top 10, and here we are with our green-white checker. Now, as I said, the lights are off on top of the pace car. We are about to go back to green flag racing, and our first attempt at a green-white checker. We have 2 in this league. If they don't get it done this time, they've got one more chance to make it happen.
So as they come around the track, they'll take the green flag, and then if they make it back to the white flag, the race will finish.
Here we go. We are now back on the green.
Good, clean start. Everybody staying in line, staying together, not pushing and shoving too much. That's not going to last long, though. This lap will finish, and now we've got the white flag lap if they make it to the white flag.
Looks like Matt Swope is able to keep up back there. He's right behind. So he didn't have the damage we had thought he had. That's great for Matt.
Yeah, good for him.
You can see someone got into the side of the 23. He's got some damage on that driver's side door. Little gift from somebody.
Yeah. And he's having... well, he's getting a little bit of a push now, but...
Okay, final lap. Whatever happens, happens, so...
Good deal. You see guys starting to jockey now. There's going to be a lot of movement.
22 of Zachary Lima continues to show the way. You've got Rick Seabrans behind him, 95 of James Mayer behind him. That outside lane, the third lane is beginning to form up. Oh, contact, there's more wreck. Here we go.
Wipe them out. Let's see where the points are going to shake out.
95 of James Mayer continues to go.
It's not official yet, but I think we could be seeing a leader right there.
He has got nobody around him. He's going to be able to get this cross the start finish completely clean with Sebastian Marin. If he crosses, currently showing, he just got passed by James Butler. Gabe Butler passes Sebastian Marin. Sebastian Marin finishes 3rd. Matt Swope finishes 4th. Oh, and got just rear-ended by his brother.
Sebastian tried to make it a good show at the end there, doing some aerobatics.
So how we finished? Let's bring up our results. I think we're still calculating here the results.
Looks like, I don't know if it's official yet or not, James Mayer, Gabe Butler, and Sebastian Marin.
That's what we're seeing. Oh, there it is. There's our race results.
There we go. That's the way it finished.
All right. You've got James Mayer, the 95, our winner tonight here at the Super Speedway Kings event at Daytona. Gabe Butler finishes second. He had a last lap pass over Sebastian Mirren, who finishes in third. Matt Swope finishes in fourth. Tom Dixon in fifth. Shane Posey in sixth. Elliott Swope, another Swope top 10 in seventh. Randy Miner in eighth. Brian Rainville in ninth. And Zachary Workman is in 10th.
11th spot is Robert DuPont III, followed by Eric Laurie, Luke Gray, Robert Rock. In 15th, we've got Seth Groover, followed by Rick Seabrans, Richard Sanchez, and Cody Niegels in 18th position. 19th is Gary Jenkins, and 20th is Steve Korosek.
In 21st, Mark Mann in the 04, the 22nd position. Kevin Freeze, Zachary Lima in 23rd. Rick McKinney finishes in 24th. Joshua Gaithright in 25th. Dean Wilkinson in 26th. J.D. Crow in 27th. Edward Fielder in 28th. Sean Stevens in 29th. And 30th is Mike Rimkus.
Bringing up the back part of the field here, we've got Tony Wright finishing 31st. Todd Siebels, 32nd, Jimmy Crow Jr., 33rd, James Mohan, 34th, and George Rincon, I'm not sure how to say that, but 35th. Jimmy Crow, 33rd. Jimmy Crow finished second last week, 33rd this week, but he's always said it's a very interesting take because he directs this league, puts it all together for these guys and recruits these guys and gets them out here to put on a show for us fans. And Jimmy always says, he said, I'd rather have a good race than race good. So it's always nice to see somebody that's got that attitude that really wants to put this thing together, not for themselves, but for the show that they can put on for the fans and the fun that these guys can have participating in it. So good job, Jimmy Crow.
All right, let's see if we can get Sebastian Marin to join us in the broadcast booth. Sebastian, welcome to the broadcast booth. That was a wild finish.
Yeah, it was kind of on the wrong end of the stick, but still a really, really good race for me and my team.
It was awesome.
Sebastian, I think it's gonna. Sorry, Rick. I think it's gonna be a good points night for you. You were fourth in the running. I think you were about 18 out of the lead, but I think you're going to gain good, solid points on all the other guys in the top five tonight.
Yeah, points night, it was great. Like you said, just really wanted that win. I felt like me and my teammates dominated that race, so it's kind of a shame that it had to end that way and with one of us not winning. So a little disappointed in that side, but yeah, like you said, still came home third, so I can't be too disappointed. But what could have been?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we saw that last after that last incident. We saw that Gabe Butler was able to sneak on past you there and just get by you.
Yeah, I was had a plan with my teammate there, Zach, on the bottom. You know, I was just gonna try and pinch as much as I could to not let the guys on the bottom cleared, but at least one of us could win. And unfortunately, he got turned, and it kind of just created a big wreck down the back. And Gabe somehow managed to get through it relatively clean. Obviously, he still got hurt pretty bad, but being Gabe, he somehow finds his way getting through it. And I was too damaged to really do anything about it. So yeah, he passed me in the last, I don't know, 100, 150 foot. So yeah, really close to second place, but oh well.
All right. Any shout outs you'd like to make tonight?
Yeah, I'll give a shout outs to my teammates, Zach, Steve, Kevin, Cody, and Joshua, who came to race with us. So I want to give a shout out to them. I'll give a shout out to you guys for putting on this broadcast, and I'll give a shout out to putting on this league. This was a really good race, really fun, really enjoyed it. Like I said, felt like we were the team to beat tonight, but shame that it had to end that way. But we'll get them next week.
Yeah, that's Super Speedway racing for sure. All right, that's your third place finisher. That was Sebastian Marin. Let's bring Gabe Butler here into the booth. Gabe, welcome to the broadcast booth. This is Rick and Jeff. Congratulations on your P2 finish. That was a wild finish tonight.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Not exactly the way I wanted to get a P2, but I guess I'll take it.
Well, sometimes it's better to be a little bit lucky than good sometimes. So you survived that big wreck at the end there, and what were your thoughts as you on that restart?
I had to pit because I had a little bit of damage, so I went back in and got it fixed, and just really trying to get one position at a time and hopefully find a pusher. And I had Steven Korosik there behind me. We were moving forward a little bit. I'm not sure we would have got all the way to the front, but that wreck worked out in our favor, and it's unfortunate for some of the other guys. So, like I said, we'll take the P2, even though it's not the way we want to do it.
Well, Gabe, you had a good solid run tonight up until that point, I thought. We talked about you and Sebastian Marin throughout the broadcast as being, a couple of the guys to beat, to be able to finish well at least. And you and Sebastian are the only two from the top 5 in our points race that made it into the top 5 here.
Yeah, it's you know how Daytona is, fellas. It's like it's kind of it's tight, but I mean we had some good 3-wide racing there coming to the end of the race. Everybody was fairly calm at the beginning, but they let the horses loose there when it gets down to the last 20 or so, and
Yep.
I mean it was pretty intense there for a while, but unfortunately a caution came out and quite a few of us got caught up in it, but It is what it is.
Yep. Any shout outs tonight?
I give a shout out to Jimmy for putting this on. It's great race sessions, and of course my teammates in the boot knocker room there. We did a pretty good job tonight. Some of us got lucky, some unlucky, and of course you guys. Welcome to SSK. It's great to have you on board. Been watching your broadcasts, and they really are top drawer fellows. I have to give you a lot of credit.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We love doing it. So, all right, that's your P2 finisher. That's Gabe Butler, and he did a great job tonight. And let's see if we can bring in our winner and also our league sponsor. Let's bring in James Mayer. James, welcome to the broadcast booth. Congratulations on your finish.
Yeah, thanks. I got a little bit lucky there, but hey, I'll take them any way I can get them.
Take us a little bit through that last restart, and obviously our green-white checker. What was going through your mind, or what was your strategy?
I'm working with Rick there. So I was going with him. The goal was to try to get him clear. But those guys, Seabass, they're on the outside. They're strong. But it was push as hard as we can, and hopefully one of us would come out on top, me or Rick there. But that's what we were going for.
Well, I tell you, that outside, that third line is so hard, and you guys were making it work. It certainly wasn't easy to get up there and hold it for sure.
Yeah, before that green-white checkered, I was working hard up there trying to get Sanchez clear. Those 4 on the inside there, leading the 2 inside lanes, they had it locked down for a good while there.
Yeah, we saw the 19 of Zachary Workman. We saw Seth Groover as well trying to make that outside line work. But really, the work that you did to try and make that work with Richard Sanchez was, it actually got that third line to get together and charge towards the front.
Yeah, that was keeping it cool was the big problem there. The trucks were getting hot pretty quick. So trying to duck out there just a little bit to get some air was what probably got us the run to finally get him clear.
Well, and then obviously as you were headed towards that start finish line, we saw the big one on that last lap.
Yeah, like I said there, I just got lucky and was able to miss that one. A little bit of luck on my side there, but that's hard pushing. The truck's not lining up coming out of the corner. It's unfortunate for those guys that got involved, but it's hard pushing. We're pushing to try to get somebody to win there, and hopefully they're not mad about it. But there's always, it's hard racing.
Well, it's Daytona, right? So it's kind of expect. It's kind of just
For sure.
what it all is. All right. Any shout outs tonight?
Yeah, of course, all the guys I'm running over there with, they're keeping it fun. Of course, Jimmy putting the league on and having us all here to race, uh, and and all the guys coming out racing with us, making it fun, making it competitive, and of course, you guys up in the booth here putting the show on.
Well, we certainly enjoyed it. Enjoyed watching you win race number 6 here with the Super Speedway Kings here at Daytona. All right, that is your winner, James Mayer. We appreciate you for tuning in. Jimmy Crow, where are we next week?
Talladega, and then we're back here at Daytona.
All right, so for those of you who are watching and listening to our broadcast, like and follow here on every Tuesday night. We'll be alternating towards the end of the season as we move to Talladega next week, then back and forth between here and Daytona. We look forward to our next race.
For sure. Jimmy, you did a great job on the show tonight. We talked on the broadcast about your philosophy that you'd rather have a good race rather than race good. And I think that was evident tonight. You ran up front for a while, but you had your hands full trying to keep these guys together, keep everybody not in line, but just coaching them a little bit throughout the race. How do you think they did overall?
I think they did pretty good. I was surprised we didn't get 3 wide a lot sooner. One thing I'm a little annoyed with, and it tends to be a trend, is it seems like after green flag pit stops, we'll have a long green flag run. Right after green flag pit stops, that caution hits. Well, I mentioned that to James while he was waiting to be interviewed, and one thing James said, and it makes sense, and some could be driver error, that a lot of guys are pushing hard as they can to catch that main pack. So, they're almost pushing like it's last lap trying to catch that pack, and that could cause some issues too. But other than that, we got long green flag runs. We had a great 3 wide stint. We had a couple bumper hooks. That's the only bad thing about this truck is the bumper hooks. Plus we're open set. But overall, and I'm real superstitious. Usually when it's a night race, we usually can get about 6 or 7. To come out with 4, I'm pleased with that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we enjoyed it.
Great race tonight. I think it was very entertaining for folks that were watching. They got to see a lot of movement on the track. They got to see a lot of strategy play out. And I think it was just a great show all around.
All right, that wraps us up here on the IWM Broadcast Network with the Super Speedway Kings here at Daytona. We thank you for watching, and if you are live, please like and follow along so you can stay up to date on future races here with the Super Speedway Kings. And we'll see you next week at Daytona. I'm Rick Souza, my co-host Jeff Needy, and Jimmy Crow. We thank you for tuning in, and have a great night.